What is up, guys? Welcome to J-Pop Music. Be sure to like, subscribe on the channel. Hit that notification bell so you know when these episodes are available. Be sure to like the video as well. It helps with those good old algorithms for YouTube. So, today we are reviewing Killer Mike's album, Michael, that released earlier this year. When I say earlier this year, I mean a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, it just dropped. And I must say, I think this is one of the best albums this year. I think, or one of my favorite albums, I would say, this year. I think there's a level of really interesting consistency around the album. It feels like the narrative of the album is kind of interesting, right? It almost feels like that he is in the church of wherever he is throughout the album, and it might be just because of the consistency of kind of like the choir in a lot of these albums or a lot of these songs on the project, but you feel like there's some type of thematic consistency because he's talking about a lot of different things on this album. He reminisces on some stuff from when he was younger. Scientists and engineers, which we'll get at in a second, talks about a lot of different things when it comes to like the music industry, not knowing who really your friends are, as far as just like making it, things of that nature. And a lot of that stuff is what Andre talks about, but something for junkies, so motherless, right? So he goes there quite a bit. So yeah, I actually really like this album. As far as for some of the let me tell you what I liked about it. What I liked about it is I think his narrative rapping is really good. When it comes to him telling a story, right? Him telling a story, I think he's a pretty good storyteller in the way that he tells it. He tells it with a certain style, right? Because Killer Mike obviously has a certain style, swag to him. The music really complements that as well. One of my favorite songs is Something for Junkies. It's funny, the first 2 minutes, I can take it or leave it. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. But once it cuts into the part where he's talking about his aunt, I thought it was very, very good. Very, very good. I thought it was very interesting, really engaging. I really like how he told that story as well. Obviously, the instrumentals and whatnot, and the production is great on the album, great on the song. But Something for Junkies is one of my favorites. I think the front half of the album is probably for what people might... hopefully they won't stop listening to the project by listening to the first 5 songs. I think the first 5 songs, they're okay. I think Run is pretty good, even though it has a long intro, but the intro is very powerful. It's an excerpt of Dave Chappelle, when he goes on his philosophical, philosophical stuff. But it has a very powerful analogy starting, but I just think the album in general, or the song in general, after that, I don't know if it really lives up to kind of like the power of the imagery of what Dave Chappelle is saying. Kind of does, but kind of doesn't. So I could take it or leave it, unfortunately, after that. Enrich, it's kind of another one where it was better. I think it was better. Down by Law, I didn't care for too much. I think Shed Tears is pretty good. Talking that shit, I could have left it, honestly. I think it was fine, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of weak. I think once it gets to Slumber, I think the album really wakes up. I think you get some really good songs after Slumber. Slumber's a really great song. Scientists and Engineers, let's talk about it. So, obviously, this is the one where the internet kind of freaked out with Andre 3000's verse. I still think that Life After the Party, that was the best verse that year when it came out. This is a good verse. I don't know if it leans over to that, but the more I listen to this Andre verse, I realize how much he put into the verse with... aside from the kind of like the rhyme cadence that he chose when he did the verse, so he kind of has like this almost like this haiku type of thing that he's doing to go with the beat or whatnot, with the sample rather, or whatever it is behind it. But there's a lot in that verse. If you take it some time to go and listen to his verse, not just really analyze it. He talks about a lot of stuff. Like I said earlier, he's talking about like even though his line that kind of makes the title of the song, I wish the scientists could engineer friends, right? kind of creates this theme as far as like not really trusting, not trusting anyone, or just, being secluded or whatnot. And then, I hope when I'm 81 that I can get my second win, right? So just talking about as far as like the music industry and whatnot. So there's a lot he talks about. In that kind of weird rhyme pattern that he chooses to do it in. I thought Future's part in it was actually pretty good as well. Killer Mike does a really good job on that verse, so really good, really good. Exit 9 was another one that I really liked. With Blast. I'm a fairly good Blast fan. I'm kind of a Blast fan. I like his vibe. He has some good vibes, and Exit 9 really does it's really his song per se. He does a really good job on that. Some of Your Junkies I talked about is it's arguably my favorite song. Motherless is really good too. I don't know if it's as good as Some of Your Junkies, but it's really personal. You know what I mean? It's really he's reminiscing over his mother that passed, and a lot of family members that have passed, and that's why I feel like there's this theme of, I feel like him being in the church, kind of like praying to God per se, or talking about these things that have happened, right? Maybe not a sign of guilt. Sorry, I'm playing over my head, Long Beach. Maybe not a sense of guilt, but just really these things kind of come back. It's almost like a migraine when it comes to some of this pain, where it's like, when it hits hard, but it doesn't happen so very often. Yeah, Don't Let the Devil is a good song as well. LP kills it in his verse, Run the Jewels. Obviously, he's the second person in the Run the Jewels group that Killer Mike obviously is in, and LP does a really good job with his parts. Shout out to LP. Thank You Good Sir did a good job as well. But yeah, I think this is a solid album. It's a really good album. What I like about it is that there's a narrative, there's a consistent narrative throughout the album as far as like the presence of it. It seems like it feels like he's in like a church, kind of reminiscing on these things. And instead of taking it as where like every other song there's choir, I'm like, well, maybe he's in a church in the just like the story of the album, right? As far as being a concept album, So I liked it. I thought it was good. This is one of my more enjoyable albums that I've listened to this year. I think this is a really bad year for music, just to be honest with you. I'll go on that in a different video, but I mean, there's a few good albums that have come out. Obviously, Queens of Stone Age is one of them, but there hasn't been a whole lot, guys. There hasn't been a whole lot that's been hitting. But some other albums did drop, so I will be doing some other videos pretty soon. I'm not a Lil Uzi Vert fan, but it's kind of, a lot of people have been talking about the album, so I think I might review it anyway. But with that being said, this is the J Powell Network, J Powell Music. Be sure to like, subscribe on the channel again. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you guys next video.